All right. Well, let's go ahead. Thanks again, Mike. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Gene Hilliard. I'm Vice President, Financial Advisor of Emerge Financial Group. We're a financial services company here in Oakland. We provide uh, uh, retirement planning, investment advice, and education to county employees. I've been doing this for roughly 12 and a half years. It'll be 13 years in June. So it's a pleasure and it's an honor to speak with you guys today. A little bit more about my background. I'm a licensed stockbroker. I've been licensed for 19 years, helping my clients create wealth, maintain that wealth, and uh, make sure that that wealth lasts throughout their lifetime, the lifetime of their children, lifetime of their grandchildren. And I'm also a certified retirement counselor. And my goal as a certified retirement counselor is to help each and every one of you maintain your current lifestyle in retirement. Okay. What does that mean? Well, the paycheck that you're getting today, my goal is to help you get the exact same paycheck with the combination of money you're going to receive from Acera, money you're going to receive from Social Security, plus what you have saved in deferred comp. Okay, so for the next roughly 30 minutes, I'm going to make this quick because I know I'm sure you guys have a little tired and you went through quite a bit of information. So I'll make it quick, and if we have some time for questions, we'll answer those questions at the end. So this presentation is called Gear Up for a Greater Future, right? And these are the areas that we're going to focus on. These are what I would call retirement mile markers. It's always nice to kind of know when to check in, when there's certain items in terms of financial planning that you should focus on at any given age. Okay, so what we're going to talk about a little bit today is I'm going to talk about conducting a situation analysis. We'll talk a little bit about Social Security. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on health insurance. I would encourage you to reach out to those folks over at Acera to get more information regarding Medicare, et cetera. We'll briefly touch on estate planning, and we'll talk a little bit about the minimum required distribution or required minimum distribution. Okay. So the first step in the whole retirement planning process is to start with your current analysis. Where do you stand in terms of being able to retire? I heard a story the other day. A person from Acera contacted me, and we were just chatting. And she had mentioned that, it's pretty consistent that some folks go into their meeting with Acera ready to retire, and then they realize they're not bringing in enough money from Social Security, from Acera.
Hey Gene, are you still there? Your uh your audio cut out.
Enough in deferred comp to actually retire. And they end up, can you hear me now? I
Okay,
see
yeah.
my internet.
Yeah, it just cut
Can
out
you hear me
for
now?
like 10 seconds.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks so much for looking into that. So conducting a current situation analysis. Here's the process. Pretty simple. I need each and every one of you to write down your current salary, all right, per year. What do you make, right? I want everyone also to log into ssa.gov, and I believe Mike may have talked to you folks about that. But log into ssa.gov and get a feel for what your Social Security will look like at age 62 if you plan on retiring at 62 or 66 or 70, right? Take a peek at your available assets. How much do you have in total assets? How much is in deferred comp, right? So start again with write down what your current salary is, subtract how much you're getting from Social Security per year, subtract how much you're going to receive from Acera, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be short a certain amount. I mean, hopefully, if there's any tier one folks on the line, you're probably not going to be short. But if you're tier two or tier four, you're probably going to be short. And typically, what you'll need is 20 times whatever your shortfall is. So the question is, am I on pace to come up with the balance that is 20 times whatever my shortfall is? That's pretty the quick and dirty of retirement planning. If you need some help with doing that calculation, please don't hesitate, reach out to me. I'll help you out with that. Okay. Now, I know earlier I talked about how I told you to write down your entire salary. In many cases, most retirees really only need 80% of their pre-retirement income. Why not 100? Well, there's a lot of costs that are going to go away in retirement. For example, do you have to pay into a SARA in retirement? No. Will you be paying into Social Security when you're retired? No. Maybe you're not commuting. Maybe you're not having to spend money on dry cleaning, lunch, etc. So your cost will go way, way down. Now, there is that possibility that your healthcare coverage may go up, but SARA in Alameda County does an excellent job of giving you a stipend to go towards your healthcare. So it may not be as expensive as you think, but typically, you'll need roughly 80% of your pre-retirement income. And I always say, hey, let's shoot for 100. But if we have to settle for 80, then so be it. What is that 80% made up of? Roughly, for many retirees, not necessarily you, but you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30, 40%, 30% of your income will come from Social Security, pension, roughly 20%. The other is about 5%. That's an inheritance. And then the balance, the bulk of your income will come from your retirement savings. Okay? Suggested milestones. When you're age 50, you want to do a check-in. Are you contributing as much as you should? I mean, you can contribute $27,000 a year if you're 50 and over. How close are you to that? So those are some things you want to think about when you turn 50. Once you're 59 and a half, in many cases, if you have a 401k, a 403b, an IRA that is a traditional IRA, even a Roth IRA, you can access your money penalty-free, right? Because typically with a 403b, 401k, you pay taxes. If you're under 59 and a half, you'll hit with a 10% penalty. That does not apply once you hit 59 and a half. The good news, if you're part of the 457 plan with Alameda County, there is no such thing as a penalty. You can withdraw your money at any age when you leave service. But some of you may have a previous job that holds a 401k, 403b that you have access to if you want it. But I would say don't pull the money just because you can, because at the end of the day, this is retirement money. And you want to make sure that money continues to grow until you actually officially stop working. 62 is the age in which at the earliest you can collect Social Security. Again, just because you can collect it, I would encourage you, sit tight for a little bit until you actually retire. 65 is when you can sign up for Medicare. 66, in many cases, is when you can collect Social Security, full Social Security. For those folks born 1960 or later, full retirement or full Social Security benefits kick in at age 67. 70 is when you can get the most bang for your buck in terms of Social Security. And then 72 is when you're required by law to take out what is called the minimum required distribution. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. All right, so folks that are 50 plus, let's dive into a little bit of detail of what you need to be looking at. You want to, again, start thinking about maxing out your 457 plan, initiating or getting involved with the 3-year catch-up. You want to be at least considering or start thinking about estate planning, beneficiaries, et cetera. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Here are the maximum limits for IRAs and for your 457 plan with the county. If you're under 50, you can put away $20,500 a year in an IRA at $6,000. If you're 50 and over, you can put an additional $6,500, bringing your total to $27,000. And if you're 50 and over in an IRA, you can put in an additional $1,000. Okay. Now, if you have the money, you can do both. I know with a 403B, 401k, you can't do both. It's one or the other. Here with the county, because this is a different tax code, you can do both if you can afford to do it. Some of you can participate in what we call the 3-year catch-up. You can put away $41,000 a year. That's the max, and that's the total in 2022. If you have money sitting in a credit union, $100,000, maybe couple 100,000, that's not earning anything. You want to somehow redirect that money into deferred comp. You can, utilizing the special 3-year catch-up. Now, you can't just write a check and put it in deferred comp. We'd have to, the money has to come from your pay. Looks like my internet's a little unstable. Hopefully you guys hear me. So $41,000 a year, you can only do that for 3 years. The soonest you can take advantage of this program, if you're a sheriff deputy, is 47. If you're a regular Alameda County employee, the soonest you can participate in this is 54 and a half. So you can do this for 3 years. You don't have to retire once the 3 years is up. What you could do is take advantage of this. And if you want to continue to work, you just revert back to whatever the maximum is for someone that's 50 and over, which right now it's $27,000 a year. Estate planning, extremely important. You don't have to be a millionaire to consider an estate plan. If you have a house in the Bay Area or a house assets at all, I would strongly encourage it, creating an estate plan. Within the estate plan is writing a living trust. The whole point of a living trust is to help your beneficiaries avoid probate. Probate's a big deal, right? It's a process where your beneficiaries have to wait a year before they can access their inheritance, right? But by creating, creating a trust, that avoids probate altogether. Another way to avoid probate is to make sure that your beneficiaries are up to date on your retirement accounts. If you have a bank account, you don't necessarily have to change the title of your bank account to your trust. You can add what is called a TOD. That's a transfer on death. It's almost like adding a beneficiary to an account. That avoids probate. Holding property jointly is a way to avoid probate. If the jointly held property is listed or assets is listed as joint with rights of survivorship. What does that mean? Well, if you have person A, person B in an account jointly held, person A passes away, all the assets go to person B, avoids probate. But there's also a joint title called joint tenants in common. And how that works is person A, person B hold the account joint tenants in common. Person A passes away, then 50% of the account would have to go through probate. So make sure if you're holding property jointly and you want to avoid probate, make sure it's listed as joint with rights of survivorship. I'm not an attorney. I would encourage you, reach out to an estate planning attorney to help you navigate your way through this process. If you're unsure of who to contact, I believe if you contacted EAP, they can hire a estate planning attorney on your behalf at a reduced rate. So EAP, reach out to those folks and look for an estate planning attorney. Okay. What should you be thinking about when you're 60 plus? And we're going to cover that a little bit in just a moment. When you're 60 plus, you want to determine, okay, what is full retirement age for me? When can I collect my full Social Security? And here are the years that a person would be born in order to collect full Social Security. So if you were born in 1959, it's not just 66 on your birthday, it's 66 and 10 months. Log on to the ssa.web website to confirm that information. If you're born 1960 or later, then 67 and some months is probably going to be your full retirement age. But consult with SSA. Another reason why you want to log on to ssa.gov is to confirm your birthday. I've had situations where the Social Security Administration had the wrong birth date in the system. So you want to get that corrected as soon as possible. You don't want to wait until you're about to collect it to fix it, because that's unfortunately, that's problematic. I'm sure many of you have heard, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the longer you wait, the more money you'll get in your pocket. So here's an example of a person who's age 62. If they were to elect to collect Social Security, they'll get 18 grand. If they wait until they're 66, you get 24,000. And you can also wait until you're 70, and you can collect $32,000 a year. Now, there was a time where, I'm a financial consultant. I want you to get as much money in your pocket as possible. But all of this is predicated on how long you live. And the fact of the matter is, we're going through this pandemic. I don't know about you, but I've been losing a lot of family members early. So I've kind of changed my strategy in terms of when to collect Social Security. I was always big on wait until your full retirement to collect it, right? But if you're going to retire and you say you're 63 or 64 or even 62, I would probably encourage you, hey, get your money now and enjoy your life now, right? Because there's 3 phases of retirement. You have your go-go phase, your slow-go phase, and your no-go phase. And you're not warned in terms of what phase you're going to go into as you move along your life. So I would encourage, collect your money as soon as you can. I know that when you do collect it early, you're getting less, but at least you're getting the money and you're able to enjoy it. Okay, but consult with your CPA, consult with your attorney, consult with your family members to determine, okay, does it make sense to collect Social Security early or not? And I'm certainly available to have a conversation about that. Okay, is Social Security going to be taxable? In many of your cases, probably. If you're making more than 25,000, if you're single, 32,000, if you're married, a portion of it is probably going to be taxable, right? And that includes your ACERA. So if your ACERA exceeds these numbers, a portion of it will probably be taxable. So that's something you want to keep in mind. But again, you can consult with your CPA, your tax advisor, to determine what's taxable, what's not in your certain circumstance. Okay, what should you think about at age 65? I'm big on at age 65 determining, okay, how much is appropriate for me to withdraw from my account? Studies have shown that a good starting point is, and we're talking about deferred comp or any assets that are considered retirement. We typically say, start at 4%. So take your account balance times 4%. That's roughly how much you should take out per year. I mean, if you can take out less, that's great. But 4% is a pretty good number. I would also encourage you want to revisit your withdrawal strategy January every year, right? The whole point of this, we don't want you to run out of money. If you take out more than that 4%, you're in the 5, 6, 7% range. There's that possibility that you could run out of money, and that's the last thing we want to happen to you. Okay, health insurance, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with that. Consult with the folks over at ACERA, sit through the webinar to determine healthcare cost or Medicare, et cetera. So let's fast forward the clock. You're retired or you're about to retire. You have your deferred compensation. You got, $500,000 in there. All right, what are your options? Okay, option number 1, you can leave the money in the plan, right? Nothing changes with the exception of you just can't add to it. Okay, so leave the money in the plan. My mother used to always say, hey, if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? If deferred comp has been working for you over your working career, then there's no reason why it can't continue to work for you while you're retired. Okay, so consider that. There are great funds. There's a stable value fund that's guaranteed that pays above the average rate of return. Okay, you still have access to licensed financial advisory services through my firm. So leave it in the plan. Most people look at it this way. They have their money in the plan. Some folks want to roll it out to an IRA, and that's fine too. Say, for example, I have participants who say, Gene, I love the funds. Deferred comp has really done well for me over time, but you know what? I'd rather invest in stocks. I want to invest in the Apple, Netflix, the Teslas, right? We don't offer that as an individual security. So you can roll it out, right? And that's fine. Or they want to invest in real estate. But I'd say for the most part, most people leave the money in the plan. They say, for example, Gene, I need $5,000 to cover my bills. I'm getting 2,500 from Sarah. I'm getting another 2,000 from Social Security. I'm short. Send me a check to cover the difference out of your Prudential account. Certainly can do that. If you're investing on a pre-tax basis, we're going to withhold taxes. Taxes are 20% federal, 3% state. So we'll cover the taxes for you. So you can leave it in the plan. So that's something I want you to consider. If you have any questions or you need some help making a decision in terms of what to do here, please don't hesitate and reach out to me. Okay. Turn your savings into retirement income. What accounts should you tap first? I'm sure many of you have money in deferred comp. Maybe you have a Roth IRA. Maybe you have some taxable money that's sitting around. You're trying to figure out which bucket should you tap first. Well, obviously, you can tap a little bit of each if you want it. I'm big on making sure that your tax-free and tax-deferred money grows as long as possible. So I would encourage tap your taxable money first. And once you run out there, then go to your pre-tax money. And then lastly, you can tap your tax-free money, which is money that you have invested in, say, the Roth 457 or Roth IRA. Okay. Once you retire, there's still some risks that you're really going to have to think about. There's market volatility risk that you're going to have to consider. You can't, and I would discourage running and hiding and defer in the stable value fund. Stable value fund pays roughly 1.5%. You're going to potentially lose money by investing in that fund. Why? Because inflation is running on average 3%. So if you're only earning 1.5%, the cost of goods and services over time is going up by 3%. You're actually losing money. So there's inflation risk. A longevity risk is a big deal. That's that whole process where you're spending too much too quickly. You're exceeding that 4% we talked about earlier. And here's an example here of longevity risk. If you hit age 65 and you're a woman, it's a very good chance you're going to make it to 87. And if you're a man, you hit 65, very good chance you hit 84. And did you know 1 in 4 folks who hit age 65 or 90 plus? So you can spend 30 plus years in retirement. And that means your assets are going to need to last that long. So this is an example of, why it's important to be thoughtful in terms of how much you're spending in your deferred comp account or any retirement account. 65 is when you're eligible for Medicare. Again, as I mentioned before, check with the folks over at Acera, log into that Medicare webinar to get some more information, okay? All right, you're 66, between 66 and 70. What should you be thinking about? Well, you should start thinking about the impact of Social Security. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. This slide is a little bit redundant, but this is a bit of an example. Let's see, it kind of went too fast here. Here's an example of if a person was full retirement age, and if they waited until age 70, how much more they could get. So this is just food for thought. I'd say typically the way the numbers work is if you think you're going to live into your 90s, then when you're thinking strictly about money, then it's better to wait until age 70 when you do the math. Okay. So I have to ask you, do you have the good genes? Do you have parents, great grandparents, grandparents that live well into their 90s? If that's the case, that's probably where you're going to fall. So maybe it makes sense to wait until you're age 70. Maybe. But as I mentioned before, genes really doesn't matter in this environment. We have this virus running rapid. Folks are passing away on us. I'd say, enjoy your money while you can. Okay. All right, 72. Big year. Once you turn 72 and you're no longer working for the county, you're required by law to take out the minimum required distribution. How much is it, Gene? It's on average, it's about 4%, between 4 and 6%, but it's based upon life expectancy tables. I would encourage, once you leave county service, have Prudential calculated for you. Have them send you a check once a year, or if you want it monthly, have Prudential send that check to you. And again, this is if you're no longer working for the county. But I will warn you, if you're currently working for the county and you're 72, for example, no, you don't have to take out that minimum from deferred comp. But let's say, for example, you have a 401k from a previous job, 403b, you have IRAs on the outside. Those accounts are still subject to that minimum required distribution. So don't forget to take the money out. But if you're with the county and you're working and you have money in deferred comp and you're 70 plus, you don't have to take out that minimum required distribution. It's a big deal if you neglect to pull that money out. They're going to charge you, the IRS will charge you 50% of what you should have taken out. So it's a big deal, something you can't afford to forget. Okay. And that's why I say have Prudential calculated for you once a year to make sure you never forget it. Okay. All right. The end is just the beginning. If you're on the call and you haven't signed up for deferred comp, is it too late? It's never too late. Sign up now, put in as much as you can. It'll pay a water bill. To sign up, log on to www.prudential.com/retire-wow. That's prudential.com/retire-wow. Click on enroll in the plan and follow the prompts. Okay. If you would think you need to increase your contributions, go to the same website and just go to the link where you can increase your contributions. Strongly encourage that. Okay. I believe that's all I really wanted to cover. If you want to get in contact with me, you can certainly email me at G_Hilliard, HILLIARD at emergefinancial.com. That's G_Hilliard at emergefinancial.com. You can all call me at 510-562-6355. That's 510-562-6355. And when you do call, you'll either speak with Penny or with Linda. Make sure you let them know that you're an Alameda County employee. That's code word for VIP, and you'll get the first available appointment. So reach out to me. If you need some help with retirement planning, you need some help with budgeting, just reach out to me. It doesn't cost you anything. This is all part of a county benefit, and I'm here at your service. So it'll be my pleasure and my honor. So with that, I will send it back to Mike, and we'll answer any questions you guys might have.